Check, 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 check. All right, so we're getting ready. All right. Yeah, what's happening, Little Rock? Let me do a shout out to my folks in Chi Town, Keely and Sierra. What's happening? New Orleans. I know some of you all, well, I would typically say people aren't up, but I know you're up because you're out returning all those ugly gifts you got. Don't want to forget about Atlanta and the people in Los Angeles. What's happening? I'm Dynamic Dave. It's the weekly sports magazine. I am here every Saturday. Well, most Saturdays. People say, man, why are you going to do radio the day after Christmas? It's just the way I be is, folks. It's just the way I be is. Welcome to the show. We're going to have a little fun this morning. We don't really have any guests lined up or anything this morning. We're just going to talk sports. You can call me at 855-525-5683. It ought to be plenty of room and for you to get in. And if you want to talk about Christmas, but remember, it's a sports show, okay? But call me, tell me what you got me for Christmas and all those things. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to be out this morning returning the gifts. They say actually the day after Christmas is the busiest day of the year for retail because so many people are, I don't mean they're buying things, but means that a lot of people are returning stuff. And of course, everything is on markdown. This is where you can really get your deals. So you should be telling little Johnny, don't worry about Christmas. The day after Christmas is the day we need to buy gifts. So a lot of people are going to be returning all of that stuff. So I'm going to tell you, the malls are going to be crazy. And fortunately for me, typically this time of the year, I avoid those areas as well as, I avoid it before the time. The new thing, and I was doing it for years, is ordering stuff online and having them to ship it to your door. Folks, you'd be surprised how nice that is. I'm just saying. And I know people that, I like to be out in the hustle and the bustle, and I like to smell the smells of Christmas. And yeah, you go right ahead. That gift is still going to give the same way, whether you're out buying it or whether or not you're getting it online. And here's the great thing about it. A lot of the online stuff, you do get a better discount. Plus, you don't burn gas. They ship it right to your house. It's pretty cool. Unless you've got neighbors who are walking up and stealing your packages off your front door. Have y'all been following that stuff? Have you really? Have you been following on the internet where neighbors are actually stealing packages being delivered by the various delivery services? Have y'all been checking that out? And these are not like, I mean, I don't know what you say a crook would look like. Some of them are like little old white women. I'm not I'm not kidding. There was one lady who was, I believe she was like a sheriff's wife or something. It was really, really weird. Really weird. Really weird. Now that sounds much better. But yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you had a happy and a Merry Christmas. Today is the first day of Kwanzaa, so I should say Habara Gunny. What's the news, folks out there? My Kwanzaa celebrators. There are probably some Kwanzaa celebrations going on around the city. I'll try to check it out and get you some information on that this morning. But of course, we're going to talk sports. There are a lot of things going on. We're wrapping up the NFL. This is week 16. The next two games. By the way, if you didn't know, I know there are 16 games where there's 17 weeks. So in the regular season, if you didn't know that, if the math was kind of throwing you off, but it's week 16 in the NFL, and we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL games, the who, so, what, thou arts, who's going to make the playoffs, who's not. Some interesting storylines as well. We'll get into all of that stuff. So we'll do that. We'll give you some headlines in the next break. And then what we'll do in the 20 break, we'll give you all the headlines or get into some little more in-depth stuff about the NFL and some of my observations. And we'll break down the playoffs and what's coming forward. The NFC East is still a mess. The NFC South is sort of like a mess. The question is now whether or not Cam Newton will decide that, and the Panthers decide Cam Newton wants to go undefeated. We'll talk about all of that stuff as well. College football, there are a lot of bowl games, folks. We'll talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to have a piece for you by Trevor Maddich. He's on ESPN, and let you hear his point of view about the bowl games. Me, myself, I totally disagree with him. So we'll listen to that probably at the 20 break as well. And we'll probably lead with that. And I'll get into my bowl thing here here in the first hour. In the second hour, we may run some old stuff, or I'm gonna reach out and see if Larry Ridley is available and at least try to get a live NBA report. So we'll talk about him as well. So those are just a few things we're gonna do today, and we're gonna look at the draft a little bit. It's gotten to that point now at the season that you start looking forward. And hopefully next week, we're going to try to get my good buddy Colin Lindsley on the line. Colin is the head of the Great Blue North Draft Report. I've watched this website and this person evolve over the last 10 years. I'm glad to say that he's a good friend of mine. One of the issues that we have with Colin is in Canada, but I believe we'll be able to Skype him in. So we're going to look out. We're going to have him over the next couple of weeks as well, just to talk a little NFL draft, because there are a lot of, it's the second season I should say the third season for the NFL. So we'll talk about that. I also last night, and when I come back, I'll tell you, I'm not going to spoil Star Wars, but I went to see Star Wars last night. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd, so get over it. Enjoyed it. It was kind of, easy to follow, and you kind of knew what was going to happen. It was set up, no doubt about that. But it was overall, I felt, for the series and the genre, I felt like it wasn't a bad movie. So we're going to talk about that when I come back as well and get into a few headlines. Yeah, it's the day after Christmas. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm doing my thing just for you. Stick and say, don't go away. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine on joynetradio.com.
to the family reunion.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year?
Yeah, Gramps, we had a great time.
Yeah, then it started death in the process.
What are you talking about? There was plenty of food.
Yeah, food that didn't even taste good. Somebody needs to teach that side of the family how to barbecue. Did you see them folks Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub like I told you?
Yes, Grandpa. After last year, I knew that was the only way you would go this year.
Hey fans, what? You haven't tried Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah.
Hi, I'm Ken Martin, Senior Pastor of the Great Archview Baptist Church, and I listen to the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman.
I know what you're thinking. You want to spice up your taste buds with some yummy, zesty, mouth-watering jerk chicken. Look at that. What about some delicious chicken spaghetti or sizzling jerk-flavored ribs? Oh, I almost forgot. The freshly prepared island salad to make you feel irie. If that doesn't make you want to run down to Jerky's, I don't know what else will. Jerky's, the Rock's only Jamaican restaurant, located at the corner of Alton Roosevelt Street in Little Rock. Open every Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m. Jerky's, it's a spicy state of mind.
Hi, I'm Hansel Harris from Hansel'sCookingVegan.com. I want to personally invite you to visit my website. To change your diet, to change your life. There's an old saying that we are what we eat. And if you're suffering from various maladies, a slight change in your diet may be just what the doctor ordered. At Hansel'sCookingVegan.com, we can set up consultations to get you going in the right direction. Let me design a meal plan specifically with you in mind. Get insight on alternative recipes that are easy to prepare and taste great. Learn to read food labels to know what you're really eating. Remember, that's Hansel's, COOKNVEGN.com for more information, or just call me at 310-849-9778. That's Hansel'sCookingVegan.com.
Listen, did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off these student athletes, all you can come up with is $5,000. John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 each. The majority of these teams are white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families would let it happen. But we're letting our kids get in.
Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for Weekly Sports Magazine on JohnNetRadio.com.
Ain't ready, dude.
What time is it?
Well, welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave, and of course, you know I play the best bumper music in the universe. Yeah, a little funk, old school. You know, it's weird how music has changed over the years, and you know, it's just crazy. We'll talk about that because I know the Grammys are going to be interesting this year. You music people, y'all, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm here every Saturday morning, and yes, by the way, I will be, you know, here next weekend as well. That's the day after New Year's. I mean, I know people will be recuperating. Personally, I don't do New Year's. Okay, it's, you know, I know a lot of people that they go to church, people still go out and party. I just don't do that anymore. Okay. And I did say anymore, but I guess as you get older, and, you know, to each his own, I know there are a lot of older people my age who do it. I don't want to be out there on the highways. And I know the police has really cracked down on drug driving and things of that nature. But it's just, to me, it's just not for me, folks. You know, And I'm sure next week I'll get into my pet peeve about New Year's. Okay. It's gonna make sense. So be sure you check that out next week. It's you know what, how do you know? Every year it's my pet peeve. It's something that someone says to you the day after New Year's every year that it just irritates the heck out of me. Okay. It's an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense, but we'll talk about that next week. So let's talk a little bit of headlines before we go to our next break. I mean, there are a lot of things going on in college sports and in sports in general. Yesterday, the NBA was front and center. We got to see the LA Clippers versus the LA Lakers. We got to see Golden State versus Cleveland and Houston, San Antonio, Chicago, and Oklahoma City, and Miami versus New Orleans. I watched bits and pieces of those games. Very interesting to say the least. But Golden State, I guess, and Cleveland was probably the game that most people wanted to watch. And I would agree. I felt like that it's a barometer. And of course, Cleveland struggled a little bit. Golden State is going to be Golden State. But I think what you're beginning to see is people figuring out how to beat Golden State. Now, one of the things you got to look at when it comes to the Warriors is you're going to have to take a chance with Draymond Green. I mean, he's been huge. And the thing about Golden State is that team is young. Contracts are favorable, as they like to say. And it's going to be around for a while. But I think you've got to get a dominant big man who can make Draymond Green play the post. You know, and people now, I know the league is going to. Here's the weird thing about it. Remember a couple of years ago when Mike D'Antoni came to the league, and you know, his style of basketball was over. Well, it seems to be rearing its head in Golden State. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. But at the end of the day, every team is not going to be able to run and gun the way Golden State does. They're just not going to be able to do it. So you're going to have to find that happy medium, these coaches are. But anyway, a couple of games and the scores yesterday. The Clippers beat the Lakers 94-84. Golden State beats Cleveland 89-83. Houston over San Antonio 88-84. Interesting thing about that, James Harden only had 2 points in the first half and came back and ends up with 24, I believe. So good game by them. Chicago over Oklahoma City 105-96. Miami beats New Orleans 98-88 in overtime. That was a dog game yesterday. The interesting thing about the Chicago-Oklahoma City game is that, you know, I look back at that Kevin Durant team and that a couple of years ago with all of those guys, Harden, those guys are just dynamic. But that old saying about, and Westbrook, of course, that old saying about you've got to seize the day, there's no guarantee. And people need to understand this. There is no guarantee that you're going to make it to the playoffs year in and year out. That team has been beset with injuries and all kinds of things. They've ran into Golden State. They've ran into San Antonio. That's why when you're there, don't take it for granted. What you're seeing with Oklahoma City, now look, this still is a good team. There's a whole lot of league left, but it's going to be tough coming out of the West next year, this year as well. But it's good to see the NBA taking front and center stage. I love that as well. Kobe Bryant is leading Steph Curry in All-Star balloting. So you can go out to NBA.com and vote for your favorite All-Star. If you didn't know, you could do that. Somebody like, what? You can do that, man. Where you go? Yeah, you can go out to NBA.com and vote for your favorite All-Star. And, of course, you knew this was coming. Kobe Bryant has decided to retire after this year. So you knew this was coming. So congratulations to Kobe. You know, here's the thing I feel about that. And I know everybody wants to see Kobe one last time. But, you know, what if there's a deserving All-Star? And I know what people say, well, who deserves it better than Kobe? How many All-Star appearances does Kobe have? This might be the one time that this one guy who's worked hard this entire season and he doesn't get voted into the All-Star game, and Kobe takes his spot. Well, he doesn't get voted into the start because Kobe takes his spot. I don't know if and here's the other thing that they're going to do in the All-Star game. So get ready for this. They're going to feed Kobe Bryant the ball. Kobe will take probably 2 million shots in the All-Star game. Mark my word. The over-under for Kobe taking shots in the All-Star game is 2 million. I'm not kidding. I know you're laughing. Don't laugh. This is serious. It's 2 million. Give or take a few. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But either way, I don't really care about All-Star games anyway, to be totally honest. I think they are just, they're going to be just like the NBA. It's, but anyway, good for Kobe, and yeah, it's his last year. So he'll get an opportunity to, he's having his tour, so to speak. I guess at some point, somebody's going to buy him like a new car, and they do stuff like that. Like Kobe needs a new car. Maybe they need to buy him a hovercraft. Have they made those yet? Hey, when we come back, we'll get into some more headlines, and we're going to talk about this thing with Trevor Maddich and these bowl games. I think it's just kind of weird to me where so many people are defending bad football teams and bad bowl games. Oh, well, I guess I spilled the beans. I kind of told you what I was going to talk about. We'll be back here in just a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on Joynet, the day after Christmas, radio.com.
If you had $100 to attend college, how much money would you be willing to give? $50, $100, $500 maybe? How about just $10? Hi, my name is David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with A Father's Family Affair, we've launched the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to afathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at afathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
We are because you are. Miss Lady Magazine has been involved in Central Arkansas now for 6 years. We are happy to reflect our community on every page of our production. If you'd like to be featured or are interested in advertising, please call us today at 501-563-1499 or 501-413-0143 or visit us online at MissLadyMagazine.com.
Hey guys, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine with Dynamic David Coleman.
Greetings. I am Ken Martin, Senior Pastor of the Greater Archview Baptist Church, where we are experiencing the transformation of God. How excited we are that God is changing us, each one of us, each and every day of our life. The Apostle Paul wrote in Romans 12:1-2, that I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, that we present our bodies in living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And it's here at Greater Archview Baptist Church, we believe that our breakthrough comes when we have a renewed mind. So we challenge you today and encourage you today to spend some time in the Word of God, where you will then start to experience the transformation of God. We encourage and invite you to join us at the Greater Archview Baptist Church for our 10:45 morning service. Be blessed and have a great day.
Pigskin, check. Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the Weekly Sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
The morning show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those rhythms.
Yeah, we do have it all, and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the Weekly Sports Magazine.
Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Hey, spread the word. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to advertise on the Weekly Sports Magazine, hit me up at Weekly Sports Magazine on gmail.com. We're going to start putting out some good advertising rates for the show coming up, as well as the station. The package is going to be tied into a web page that is on my Dynamic website as well, so you can get free advertising as well. So make sure you check it out. All right, you'll be hearing more about that in the coming days. Happy Kwanzaa, a great celebration. Do y'all celebrate Kwanzaa? And why not? You think it's like some religious thing that takes away from Christmas? Far from it, folks. It's a great holiday for African Americans to celebrate, for unity, collective economics, culture, art. It just celebrates all of the things that goes on, and it's 7 days and culminates next Friday, New Year's Day. Well, that's the day of the feast. I know y'all like to eat. I'm Dave Coleman. I'm here every Saturday morning. You know, the weather is really weird. Man, I don't know what time it was. Did y'all hear like that big, huge boom? I mean, last night, it was like, I can't even describe how huge it was. I was dead asleep, and the windows was rattling. It was huge. And then, of course, all the rain, I guess it was rain that was hitting the window last night. It was crazy. And now, this morning, this like fog bank has rolled into downtown Little Rock. I'm not kidding. I am actually going to take a picture of this and post it this morning. This is crazy. And of course, last week, we went through like 70-degree weather. Man, y'all can sit up there and believe there's not something weird going on with the weather all you want, okay? This is not normal, folks. I'm sorry. You know, and he said, well, you're not a scientist. No, I'm not, but I got common damn sense. This is not normal. But anyway. All right, let's talk a few more headlines here. And I know what I want to do this segment is talk a little bit about Trevor Matich. And let me set this clip up. You know, I've said for a long time, for years, as a matter of fact, that there are simply too many darn bowl games. You know, there are some games on today, and we'll talk a little bit about them and tell you. But there are I think there are now like 40 bowl games. It's just ridiculous. And some of these teams, you know, it got so, it used to be you had to win 7 games before you could get in a bowl game. And then because these different cities decided to create their own bowl games, then they said, well, they had to drop it to 6. Well, you know, is it a reward for the kids to go to the bowl games, or is it for charity, or is it for the fat cats who make money? You tell me. You can't have it both ways. So Trevor Matich, I guess it was day before yesterday, put out this piece about the bowl games, which is, in my opinion, a bit condescending. You know, I've never been anyone. Look, I've held events, and I've held events where people hadn't shown up. But it's not up to me to tell people how to spend their money. And when people don't go to bowl games, when the fans don't go, because what a lot of people don't realize, here's what happened with bowl games. They have these bowl games in these many cities, and they expect the fan base of the prospective colleges to buy tickets. And they allot X amount of tickets to the fan base. The majority of the tickets are given or sold by the various schools. Now, if you go to a bowl game that's let's say Shreveport, for instance, Shreveport doesn't have or a huge population. They're not going to buy a lot of tickets. Let's take Memphis, and I happen to be in a city where I watched them develop a bowl game, the Music City Bowl in Nashville, from the concept to the beginning all the way through. And what occurs a lot of times is certainly if you've got a big enough city, you'll get the Chamber of Commerce and the bowl committee in that city drumming up sales, being on all the radio stations, things of that nature to get locals to buy those tickets. But the bottom line is a lot of times the locals doesn't give a darn about the bowl game. You know, if you're in Nashville and let's say it's the Sun Bowl, and the Sun Bowl has a 5-7 Nebraska versus a UCLA squad. Now, who wants to go see a 5-7 Nebraska? Okay, so are you going to go if you're one of the locals? I don't think so. That's the problem with bowl games. And for anyone to criticize people because they don't show up, kiss my grits. Let's listen to this piece with Trevor Matich. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about it. It's just, I don't know, it's just mind-boggling. Here we go.
Or have a great time listening to them. And if you don't like it, okay. That's true. I mean, I'm a guy who says 5 and 7, you shouldn't be in a bowl game. But you know what? I'm going to be watching Nebraska. Well, listen, if you can't get excited about Nebraska and UCLA in a football game, you're not football.
What? If I can't get excited about a 5-7 Nebraska playing in a meaningless bowl game, I'm not a football fan? Is this Bizarro World? Man, that's crazy. Come on. So here's the bottom line. Nebraska shouldn't be in a bowl game. There are too many bowl games. And he's exactly right. If you don't want to watch, all you have to do is change the channel. And people do. That's why the ratings are down. That's why the fans are not there. When you watch any of these bowl games today, and I think there are 6, when you watch any of these bowl games today, look for a shot of the crowd. As a matter of fact, they won't show you many shots of the crowd if they can't keep from, or they may have covered up the seats as if you don't realize that there are no one in those seats. But then when that quarterback drops back to throw the long pass, they can't help but to show the shot as they track the football. So you'll get to see the dense crowds. Now, of course, the playoff games, those will be packed. And they should be. But these insignificant bowl games that everybody is mad, a lot of ESPN, of course, Trevor Matich, you have an interest in those bowl games. You work for ESPN. A lot of these bowl games are played where? On ESPN. So don't give me that crap. Come on. There are too many bowl games. If you are 6-6, that's a mediocre season. You didn't achieve. Sorry. That reminds me. I'm going to go out here and let me I shouldn't be mean the day after Christmas. I know, I'm sorry. But I'm going to go out here and I know it's online somewhere. And if not, I know it'll be posted here soon. The trinkets that they give the players, I'm gonna tell you, they get some nice swag. We'll look at that in a moment. But I'm just saying this thing with Trevor Maddich and the bowl games, they are insignificant. But look, but the other thing, they're right. If I'm by a television, at some point, I'm gonna click on a football game. It's kind of like in our DNA. That's why people don't want to discuss this thing about concussions, because they're afraid that if you seriously look at this thing with concussions, then you'll realize that this is a very dangerous game that you don't want little Johnny playing. I'm just saying. But a 5-17, come on, Trevor Maddich. And woe be unto me that I would tell anybody how to spend their money. These tickets are absorbent. A lot of times, obviously these bowl games are in far off places as opposed to where your fan base is located. When you throw in it's Christmas time, and you throw in the time where you got to travel, you got to pay. Typically, you'll have to pay if you go to these bowl games. A lot of the ones on the weekend, they won't let you book in a hotel just one day. You've got to pay for the entire weekend. So that's a lot of money. Then you got to throw in a ticket. You got to throw in the food just to go see your. Now I could understand mama and daddy going, family members, certainly. But a lot of the fan base is just not going to go to these games. It's not the end thing to do. And then the other thing is, why would you do that when you can sit at home and watch the game with a group of your friends? Just your perspective. I know whatever you want to do there. But to tell people how to spend their money is a little ridiculous, to say the least. All right. When we come back from the next break, we're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk about Charles Woodson. Congratulations to him. He's also retiring. Good win by the Raiders on Thursday night over San Diego. And we'll also get into some NFL draft as well. I'm going to go out to Colin Lindsley's website and check out his draft board and see what's going on. And during the break, I am going to look up the little stuff that these players get for these bowl games. You will be surprised what they get. Okay? It's just amazing all the things that they're going to get for playing in the bowl games. And some of the people say, oh, well, see, they're getting paid. No, they're not. No, they're not. All right? But anyway, let's go out and take another break. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
Grandpa, time to go to the family reunion.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year?
Yeah, Gramps, we had a great time.
Yeah, then it started to tap in the process.
What are you talking about? There was plenty of food.
There's food that didn't even taste good. Somebody needs to teach that side of the family how to barbecue. Did you see them folks Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub like I told you?
Yes, Grandpa. After last year, I knew that was the only way we would go this year.
Hey fans, what? You haven't tried Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah.
Hi, I'm Ken Martin, Senior Pastor of the Great Archview Baptist Church, and I listen to the Weekly Sports page with the dynamic David Coleman.
I know what you're thinking. You want to spice up your taste buds with some yummy zesty mouth and jerk chicken. Look at that. What about some delicious chicken spaghetti or sizzling jerk flavored ribs? Oh, I almost forgot the freshly prepared onion salad to make you feel irie. If that doesn't make you want to run down to Jerky's, I don't know what else will. Jerky's, the Roxanne American restaurant located at the corner of Hart and Roosevelt Street in Little Rock. Open every Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m. Jerky's, it's a spicy state of mind.
Hi, I'm Hansel Harris from Hansel'sCookingVegan.com. I want to personally invite you to visit my website. To change your diet to change your life. There's an old saying that we are what we eat. And if you're suffering from various maladies, a slight change in your diet may be just what the doctor ordered. At Hansel'sCookingVegan.com, we can set up consultations to get you going in the right direction. Let me design a meal plan specifically with you in mind. Get insight on alternative recipes that are easy to prepare and taste great. Learn to read food labels to know what you're really eating. Remember, that's Hansel's, COOKNVEGN.com for more information, or just call me at 310-849-9778. That's Hansel'sCookingVegan.com.
Listen, did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
You're making $455 million off these student athletes. All you come up with is $5,000. John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 each. The majority of these teams are white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families would let it happen. But we're letting our kids get cancer.
Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Jordan at Radio.
Yeah. You. All right. Weekly Sports Magazine, Dave Coleman back in the house. 855-525-5683 is the number if you're out there and you'd like to call and talk a little sports. Lines are wide open the entire show. We're not doing anything but having a little fun. Nothing serious. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL, some other things. I promised you that I'd go out and tell you what some of the things are that some of these people are getting in the bowl games. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, let's see. I just want to look at some of this stuff. What is a gift suite? Okay. It doesn't make sense, but what they've done here, boy, that sure sounds good. I'm gonna tell you, back in the day, folks, let's just let that jam a little bit. Yeah. Little Gap Band. So I'm going to have to look into what this means about gift suites. They're not telling you. Let's see here. Each person. All right. So here we go. So I just wanted to make sure of what this is. So let's see. All right. Most watches, rings, clothing, luggage, footballs are custom made with the bowl logo. Gift suites are set up as private events in which game participants and often bowl VIPs are often given an order form and allowed to select a gift or gifts up to a value that is predetermined by each specific bowl, not to exceed the NCAA limit of $550 per person. Additionally, teams listed may not reflect the noted conference affiliations. Okay, so I was looking to see what this gift suite was because they used to tell you, but when you start realizing the swag that these players get for these bowl games, they've turned it into a gift suite. All right. So most of these bowl games now, if you go out and look, and I just put in bowl game gifts for players. Google is a wonderful tool. I tell people all the time, if you really want to find out something, if you do a little research, you can find it out. And the gift suite apparently with Google, on Google, and this is with SB Nation. Just go out and check it out. It will tell you some of the things that people are getting. Like, for instance, here at the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, $315 in a Best Buy shopping trip, Timely Watch Company, which is a watch, EA Sports video game, iSlide footwear, and a beach towel. Okay. All right. The Outback Bowl, they give you a $150 Best Buy gift card, an Outback Steakhouse gift card, a Fossil watch, Jostin ring, and a cap. Some of this stuff is corny. All right, so the Liberty Bowl, which is where the Razorbacks are playing in Memphis on, let's see, I believe that game is not until January 2nd. A Bass Pro Shops gift card and shopping trip, custom-made Oculus Pro Team HD binoculars. Those are nice. Hey, I'm a nerd. Those are nice right there. A Boulevard watch, Nike athletic shoes, sports sandals, sunglasses, and custom-made backpack, and commemorative game ball. So that's not bad right there. So I'm just kind of going through a couple of things that the players are getting for the bowl games. Let's see. The Alamo, the Valero Alamo Bowl, Beats Studio wireless headphones, a Fossil watch, $125 Best Buy gift card, Team Panoramic photo. Who cares about that stuff? A lot of those guys. Some of that commemorative helmet. A lot of that stuff won't make it home. I'm going to be honest. A lot of these guys are going to barter and sell some of this stuff. Yeah. Look, some of that stuff is not making it home. Trust me. Let's see. Here's the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. What is Battle Frog? I've never heard of that. I wonder, is that like some car stuff? I don't know. Who cares? But anyway, they're getting a gift suite, a Fossil watch, OGO X Fit backpack. So they're not telling you what they're getting, but it's going to be $550. At least it's supposed to be. Why is it you won't tell us? So these are, okay, here's the Rose Bowl, they're getting that basically the same thing as the Fiesta Bowl. The Sugar Bowl gift suite Fossil watch. So they're on the take on that one. It's just some interesting things here. The Peach Bowl, you're getting a $300 vanilla Visa gift card, Fossil watch, Bluetooth speaker. Remember, I don't care about a $10 Chick-fil-A gift card. Who wants that? I know a lot of people like Chick-fil-A, but I wouldn't want it. So the Cotton Bowl would not disclose what they're giving. I mean, why is this a secret? And why is it that these bowl games can give these players these things, but regular Joe Blow can't? Oh, is that what they buy from the NFL? Is the right to push their products on these young men? What a double standard. And that's the point that I'm making here, is that Trevor Maddich said in the piece that I ran that it's for charity. What charity does gets a percentage. They don't get the whole take. Come on, let's be real here. And charity, so if it's a charity, why isn't it named after the charity? Here's the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Is that a charity? Lockheed Martin? What the Advocare B100 Texas Bowl? Is that a charity? What about the Nova Home Loans? Give me a break. Don't tell me how to spend my money, Trevor Maddich. Unreal. And I ain't going for it. That's just the bottom line on that. We got to go out and take a break. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com. By the way, you can go out to the Weekly Sports Magazine.com and check out the live feed. I'm streaming live, and yes, I'm having a good time. It's the day after Christmas. Look, it's foggy. I'm gonna take a picture here in just a moment on Facebook and put it on Facebook and show you just how foggy it is. Seriously, be careful out there. I know here in Little Rock in Central Arkansas area, strange weather came through last night. Hope everybody's okay. Huge boom of like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock this morning. It just sounded like an explosion and rattled the windows, and it was just really peculiar. Good God, y'all. That little Parliament, of course, you know I play the best bumper music in the universe. Old school, that is. Oh, by the way, yeah, I want to use this segment to do a shout out to my good buddy. I shouldn't say good buddy, but at least a fan I am of his, and that's Charles Woodson. Of course, drafted by the Raiders, won the Heisman Trophy over Peyton Manning a few years ago. And, you know, I was in Tennessee at the time doing sports radio, and the Tennessee fans just went crazy. You know. But Charles Woodson was a dynamic player, obviously from Michigan, was drafted by the Raiders, had a great career at the Raiders. The Raiders let him go. He went to Green Bay, still had a pretty good career, won a Super Bowl, went back to the Raiders a couple of years ago, still at 39 years old, playing very, very well, has decided to retire. And good for him. He had a great, great career. I am proud that Charles Woodson was an Oakland Raider, I should say. Thank goodness he was. And to be part of what I think is potentially rebuilding for the Oakland Raiders. Now, if you hadn't figured out, I'm an Oakland Raider fan. All right. And if you're mad, good. Call 855-525-5683. You can talk about your sorry team, Cowboy fans. But I'm so sick of Cowboy fans, I thought I'd just go ahead and put it out there that I'm a Raider fan, and it's been long in coming. We've had some tough times, but I've been a Raider fan all my life and will always be a Raider fan, okay? It's not going to change, folks. I love my Raiders. So I'm glad for Charles Woodson, and it was good to see that they continued the misery of San Diego, who has not won a conference game since 2014. And the Raiders seem to be on the come, which is great. I am excited about that. I'm not too thrilled about Jack Del Rio, but, you know, sometimes, you know, change brings about, you know, change of scenery brings about a change. And him leaving from Jacksonville, going to Oakland, I wasn't thrilled about the hire, but there seems to be some improvement. Now, can he get above 500 next year? We'll see. But you got David Carr, you got Amari Cooper, who was the first rookie to have 1,000 yards for the Raiders in quite some time. So good for him. You got the running back who's gained over 1,000 yards, who led the AFC. You know, Latavius Murray. So it looks pretty good for the Raiders so far. So I'm just happy that they are back, and I look forward to them continuing this, I guess you could say, this potential upswing. So I'd love to see them get back to the Super Bowl. I guess the big question now is, are they staying in Oakland or are they moving to Los Angeles? And if you've ever been to the Coliseum, O.co Stadium, it's a mess. There were pictures on Facebook a few weeks ago about the ceiling and how they have to put cups up against the ceiling to catch leaks, and it's just terrible. An NFL team shouldn't have to play in those conditions. So they could be the Los Angeles Raiders again. The Rams want to go back to Los Angeles. San Diego wants to go to Los Angeles. You know, they might end up having 3 teams in Los Angeles when they haven't had one in 20 years. That'll be interesting. Anyway, that's 1 hour down, 1 to go. We're going to go out and pick some games as well, all right? And we'll get those posted and talk a little bit about some of the games that we had last year. Coming up next hour. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com. Hey folks, what's happening? I'm Dave Coleman. Sorry about the view, but if you look behind me, that's fog. The camera's not that great, but you can see it's pretty fog.
Dynamic Power Pages is growing. Get your business web footprint growing by going with DynamicPowerPages.com. We don't just list your business on a website hoping consumers find you. We build you an interactive web page themed for your business, and we advertise nationally. So we send our subscribers to you from all over the country. Already got a website? Well, that's no problem. You can use your Power Page as a portal to your own business website. Dynamic Power Pages is a growing national Black business network. Go to DynamicPowerPages.com today and let's set up a free, that's right, free initial consultation. Small business and short on capital, yeah, we understand. We have a payment plan that will fit any budget. It's happening on DynamicPowerPages.com. Remember, it's not a party, it's a purpose. That's DynamicPowerPages.com.
Hi, I'm Hansel Harris from Hansel'sCookingVegan.com. I want to personally invite you to visit my website. To change your diet, to change your life. There's an old saying that we are what we eat. And if you're suffering from various maladies, a slight change in your diet may be just what the doctor ordered. At Hansel'sCookingVegan.com, we can set up consultations to get you going in the right direction. Let me design a meal plan specifically with you in mind. Get insight on alternative recipes that are easy to prepare and taste great. Learn to read food labels to know what you're really eating. Remember, that's Hansel's, COOKNVEGN.com for more information, or just call me at 310-849-9778. That's Hansel'sCookingVegan.com.
Hey guys, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine with Dynamic David Coleman.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying, and so he wasn't as good as Michael, but he wasn't as good as Magic. Every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, if you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch and he got the little crooked finger. He's like, "Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!" Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for the Weekly Sports Magazine on JordanRadio.com.
It's time for the Weekly Sports Page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole.
You kidding me?
Now here's dynamic David Coleman.
Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Dynamic Dave here every Saturday morning, 1 hour down, one to go, talking sports. We do it every Saturday morning. By the way, the lines are open, 855-525-5683 if you want to give me a call. Let's see here. Let's see. Getting a lot of messages and stuff this morning. Merry Christmas. Take that, hater. That's funny. Oh, I must have struck a little nerve. I see your little stanky Christmas. Hey, wait a minute. I'm about to call the show. If you up, you sitting up here sending me little harassing text messages, Mr. JC Love. So he sends me a little Merry Christmas tree, and he's got the little Dallas Cowboy star at the top of the Christmas tree. Who made this video? Come on, who made this picture? Come on, I'm gonna have to erase this from my phone before it infects my phone. Give me a break. Well, the good thing I can say about the Raiders this year, we ain't the Cowboys. Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. Just have a little fun this morning, and hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. It is Kwanzaa, the first day of Kwanzaa. So what's the word in Nguzo Saba, Habari Gani, to everyone out there celebrating Kwanzaa. Hey, check your local listings. There are Kwanzaa celebrations in cities all across the country. So just, I'm sure they are, go to your local websites, reach out to your local African-American bookstores if there are still some in your area. I'm sure churches are now realizing that it's not a holiday to try to supplant Jesus. It's just a holiday to celebrate African culture and wealth that we've created. That, you know, the old thing, one of the principles of Kwanzaa is Kujichagulia. You know, it's about collective work and self-determination on all of these things. So this is a holiday that that was put together years ago that more and more people are celebrating, and I hope you are too. It's fun, it's festive, it's great to see the kids participate in it as well. And hey, if you got youngins, you want to get them in anything you can. Okay, so get out there and get involved. And if you are having a Kwanzaa celebration, let me know, because I'd like to come next Saturday and eat. That's the final day. That's the collective feast that we have. So I hope you'll check it out as well. Let's see. Let's look at some NFL playoff scenarios that are going on right now. And let me just tell you what's going on. And this is week 16. This is what's going on today. And let's see here. We'll look at, there are a couple of games today that have playoff implications. Washington and Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 3. Let's see. I thought it was another game, but maybe. So there's just one game. I thought there were 2, but the Washington-Philadelphia game is on this afternoon and on the NFL Network. Well, tonight at 8:25. So, but it does have some playoff implications. The Philadelphia's 76ers, Eagles are still mathematically in the playoff hunt, because if they can beat Washington and Washington loses out and they win out, then that makes them win the division and they go to the playoffs, believe it or not. I believe that's correct. And a couple of games tomorrow, playoff implications as well. Obviously, Carolina is in. They'll get a first round bye, but Atlanta still has an outside chance, and we'll look at that here in just a moment. So those are a couple of interesting games to watch. The rest of the games are just kind of playing out the string. Kansas City has had an interesting run. They're playing Cleveland. They've won 8 straight. They started off 1-5, and they've turned it around, playing won 8 straight. They're going to beat Cleveland. Cleveland is on the road in Kansas City. There's no reason why Kansas City would not win out. The Jets and the Patriots, that's an interesting game because although the Jets are on the outside looking in, they need to win this game against the Patriots if they want to keep their hope alive of getting into the playoffs as well. So let's see. I think that's about it. Of course, Pittsburgh is in. They'll probably end up playing the first weekend because Cincinnati is going to win that division. So those are another interesting game. Green Bay at Arizona. Both of those teams are in the playoffs right now, but that's probably one of the better games of the weekend, along with New York Giants, who are still they could potentially win out as well. Things fall in place for them, so they've got a lot to play here. Play against Minnesota, who is 9-5, and of course we mentioned, and Cincinnati and Denver. Will the Denver Broncos continue to fall? Will Osweiler be the quarterback this weekend? Don't know. Or will it be Peyton Manning? Is he ready to come back and play? I think this team has some problems. They were living early on off the defense, and now that the defense isn't getting the pick sixes and things of that nature, this team is having a struggle scoring. Still a good defense, but that's going to be tough. One other interesting game, St. Louis and Seattle. And I'm going to pick some games here in just a moment. I'm going to pick 8 of these games, okay? So St. Louis and Seattle. Seattle is a 12.5-point favorite. Ooh, that's going to be tough, but Seattle needs to win that game as well. So let's just quickly look at the playoff picture real fast. I'll tell you what, when we come back, why don't we do that? We'll look at the playoff picture, and I'm going to also pick some games. How about that? We'll do that. No doubt about that. So, hey, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
Growing by going with DynamicPowerPages.com. We don't just list your business on a website hoping consumers find you. We build you an interactive web page themed for your business, and we advertise nationally. So we send our subscribers to you from all over the country.
I got to get some paper.
Well, that's no problem. You can use your Power Page as a portal to your own business website. Dynamic Power Pages is a growing national Black business network. Go to DynamicPowerPages.com today and let's set up a free, that's right, free initial consultation. Small business and short on capital, yeah, we understand. We have a payment plan that will fit any budget. It's happening on DynamicPowerPages.com. Remember, it's not a party, it's a purpose. That's DynamicPowerPages.com.
Hey guys, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine with Dynamic David Coleman.
Come on, Grandpa. Time to go to the family reunion.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year?
Yeah, Gramps, we had a great time.
Yeah, then it started to tell me the process.
What are you talking about? There was plenty of food.
There's food that didn't even taste good. Somebody needs to teach that family how to barbecue. Did you see them folks go over Dynamic Rip Rub like I told you?
Yes, Grandpa. After last year, I knew that was the only way we would go this year.
Hey fans, what? You haven't tried Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah.
If you could help a young father attend college, how much money would you be willing to give? $50, $100, $500 maybe? How about just $10? Hi, my name is David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with A Father's Family Affair, we've launched the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to afathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 104-10 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at afathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation.
You have to be careful when you start saying, well, he wasn't as good as Michael, but he wasn't as good as Magic. Every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, or you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he's got that little crooked finger. He's like, get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!
Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for the Weekly Sports Magazine on JournetRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. I am in the hizzy. We're talking sports. 855-525-5683. If you want to call me, I was late. I was picking games. We'll get to those here in just a moment. I want to give you a quick look at the playoff picture as I promised. Go on, saying that to me, Sadie. Love me some Sadie. I mean Sade. I'm sorry. Listen to a lot this weekend for some reason. It's a bad girl. But anyway, let me just tell you where the playoff picture as it sits right now. In the AFC right now, and I don't see this changing anytime soon, the New England Patriots is the number 1 seed. They're 12-2. And Cincinnati, they're number 2. Right now, they will get the first round bye. The AFC wildcard games, 6th seed Pittsburgh at Denver, 10-4. Pittsburgh is 9-5. That's currently as it sits right now. Obviously, there are 2 weeks to go in the season. The 5th seed currently is Kansas City, and the 4th seed is the Texans, the Houston Texans. And here's the weird thing about it. Kansas City will go to the Houston Texans, although Kansas City will have the better record. In the NFC, the first round bye goes to the 14-0 Panthers. They are the number 1 seed. The Cardinals are number 2. They're 12-2, but that would be a good game right there if those two ended up playing and everybody stayed healthy in the NFC. Boy, I'll tell you what, I bet the NFL is hoping for that game right there, that the Panthers versus the Cardinals, if everything plays out. The 6th seed Minnesota Vikings, 9-5, will go to the third seed Green Bay Packers, who are 10-4 right now. And then the 5th seed Seattle Seahawks will go on the road and play the Washington Redskins. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that name. The Washington Racial Slurs. So they'll go on the road and play them. So that's how that plays out. So currently right now, as it shows, let's see, first round bye and clinch home field advantage. Okay, so let's look at some possibilities, some AFC playoff possibilities for the New England Patriots real fast. Okay, let's not do them. Let's do just seeing if any of these really make any difference. Okay, so we won't worry about those. All right, so that's currently the way it stands right now in the playoff. There are some tiebreaker things and stuff like that. Also, and we talked a little bit about the draft. We'll get into that a little bit more and look at some projected orders of the draft coming up as well. But that's the playoffs, and it's shaping up to be a very interesting playoff. I think the subject right now is whether or not the Panthers will play 16 games with all of their starters and try to go 16-0. Has not been done, and of course going through and winning the Super Bowl hadn't been done since what, 72 with the Miami Dolphins. And of course, those Dolphins that are still alive every year, they when that final undefeated team goes down, they pop a cork on a bottle of champagne, and I think it's a real unique thing. And I've heard a lot of these announcers say, well, why would you try to go 16-0, and why don't you just save it up for the playoffs? Those are people, and the guys who say this are guys who have never competed on, it seems like, any level, because the distinction to go undefeated, I mean, every guy who plays would love to have that. That's a rare feat. And to make the suggestion that the teams, and I know there are a lot more implications. Well, what if Cam gets hurt or so-and-so gets hurt? I mean, you could get hurt falling in your shower. To be able to rise above history and go undefeated would be magnificent. And I'd love to see it happen. And I'd like to see it happen. I'm not a Carolina Panther fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I like Cam Newton, okay? And particularly for a number of reasons, but he's taken a beating, some of it deserved, while he was in college. But some of the animosity that people have towards Cam Newton is really uncalled for. Let the guy enjoy himself. He's risen above some of the negative things that he's done, and you know, I just like the guy. And then of course for him to be a black quarterback, yeah, I'm gonna say it, to go undefeated, I'd love to see that happen, because there are still those stereotypes out there as it relates to black quarterbacks. And don't give me that mess and say it isn't, because it is. It is. By the way, if you get a chance to go out and look at the story of Joe Gilliam, it's going to be posted. Joe Gilliam, I got to know him in his latter life, along with his father, Joe Gilliam Sr. And, you know, interesting story. And you understand the pressures of being in that position. It was tough. So for Cam Newton to go ahead and win it, and I know we've had black quarterbacks to win Super Bowls before, the more the merrier. That's the whole point. Hey, we're going to go out and take another break. We'll be back here in just a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
Dynamic Power Pages is growing. Get your business web footprint growing by going with DynamicPowerPages.com. We don't just list your business on a website hoping consumers find you. We build you an interactive web page themed for your business. And we advertise nationally. So we send our subscribers to you from all over the country. Already got a website? Well, that's no problem. You can use your Power Page as a portal to your own business website. Dynamic Power Pages is a growing national Black business network. Go to DynamicPowerPages.com today and let's set up a free, that's right, free initial consultation. Small business and short capital, yeah, we understand. We have a payment plan that will fit any budget. It's happening on DynamicPowerPages.com. Remember, it's not a party, it's a purpose. That's DynamicPowerPages.com.
Hey guys, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine with Dynamic David Coleman.
Come on, Grandpa. Time to go to the family reunion.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year?
Yeah, Gramps, you had a great time.
Yeah, you just start to stay with the process.
What are you talking about? There was plenty of food.
There's food and chicken and change. Somebody say that's not the better. How to barbecue? Did you see them folks?
We're going to pick some games here in just a moment.
Hey fans, what? You ever tried Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah. If you could have a young father 10 times, how much money would you be
I'm gonna pick one more game.
We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to afather'sfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 100 for 10-to-1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at afather'sfamilyaffair.com right now. LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you try to play. And he went and did it. Every time you get it, man, every generation you get it. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, if you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he got the little purple things. Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for the Weekly Sports Magazine on JournetRadio.com.
Come on, Frankie. Come on, come on, come on. Warm up. You make me happy. Look, Frankie Beverly and Mays, Saturday morning. It's the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm having a great time here. I hope you're having a great time as well. Thanks for joining me. Hey, have you reached over yet and pinched your spouse on the butt and say, hey, Dave Coleman's on there. You need to wake up, baby. Baby, it's the day after Christmas. Some of you folks are already out there returning those ugly gifts. Call me up and tell me what kind of ugly gifts you got for Christmas. Because I know you got some bad ones. If you got underwear, a tie, or socks, those are ugly gifts, okay? Men want electronics, so you can make up this week. It's Kwanzaa week, so you can make it up to them by going out and ordering some good electronics, some good stuff. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about, I said I was going to pick some games. I want to do that, all right? And I also want to look at the Great Blue North draft projections. A good friend of mine, Colin Lindsley, he is actually living in Canada. It's weird, but that Frankie show sound good. Can I get a can I get a 20? Can I get a 20 and just jam a little this? Hold on, it's the day after Christmas. Let's have a good time. All right, we're gonna jam a little this for a moment, just about 60 seconds, okay? All right, welcome back to the Weekly Sports. I'm sorry, I had to just go there. It's a very good friend of mine who's a younger cat who didn't grow up on Frankie Beverly and Mays, who is now a huge Mays fan. Man, if you've never gotten an opportunity to see Frankie in concert, and certainly he's not what he used to be as age has crept up on him, man, one of these days I'll tell you the story of Barton Coliseum, Roy Ayers and Frankie Beverly and Mays. There were maybe 300 people there, and people were afraid that Frankie would come out and wouldn't perform. Both he and Roy Ayers turned it out, and this is, I saw Frankie Beverly and Mays at the Zoom Extravaganza at the Barton Coliseum. Check this concert out. It was Frankie Beverly and Mays who opened. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Frankie Beverly and Mays who opened, and that was when they just had started with Happy Feeling. And While I'm Alone, those were their main two hits. And then it was the Commodores who came out with Zoom Extravaganza, and the closing act was the OJs. And that was when they had the Family Reunion LP. Now I know I'm dating myself, and I know that's illegal in 10 states, but I'm doing it. Okay, but it's just it was a great concert. So that day I became a Frankie Beverly and Maze fan. And a couple of years later there was a multi-weekend concert, one on a Friday night and a Saturday, and I want to say it was a Labor Day weekend. And everybody chose to go to the first concert, which was the Bar-Kays, Roger Troutman and the Bar-Kays, and somebody else. It was a pretty good show. All right. But I fortunately was able to go to both because I was working, so I wanted to see Frankie again. And it was only 300 people there, and not many people. And because people had went to the show before, and we decided, and we were worried that, Frankie is not going to play. He's not going to give a good show. First, Roy Ayers came out. He jammed, and there was another artist before Roy Ayers. It was a 3-act show. Frankie came out. He looked at the audience. He said, "Hey, I know what y'all are saying, are thinking that Frankie Beverly is not going to give a good show because there's not many people here." But he said, "I tell you what, all you people sitting up on the sides, y'all come on down to the floor. We're going to have a great show tonight. This is going to be the best show you've ever seen." And he was not kidding. And I've been in other venues, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, and seen him other times. And every time he does a show, it is off the chain. He gives his all. So if you get a chance to see him, he's been sick. So if you get a chance to see him again, try to go out and check him out. I mean, he is one of the rare performers, great music. I mean, everybody goes back and thinks about Frankie Beverly and the great things that he's contributed to the R&B world. So didn't mean to get off on that tangent with Frankie Beverly and Maze, but I wanted to do that as well. Now let's go ahead and do some quick picks. Hey, it's my show. Shut up. It's a sports social commentary show. Now, if you hadn't figured that out by now, you've been listening to the wrong show. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see. I'm going to do some picks, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some look at the draft coming up with my good friend Colin Lindsley. He's out of Canada, and we're going to try to get him on. I think we can Skype him in. The phones are weird, but we can Skype him in and get him on and do a live segment here eventually. Okay, so let's see here. One of the games I'm going to pick is Philadelphia and Washington. Washington is on the road. Don't seem to play very well on the road. I'm going to pick Philadelphia -3. And we're going to put these up on the Facebook page, on the Facebook page and on the website as well. If you want to play and you post your picks before Sunday. Now, this game is tonight, so you got to get them posted before this afternoon, before the game starts. And you beat me, I'll give you a dynamic power pay, dynamic gift box, which has a, let's see, rib rub, rib nuts, fry batter, rib juice, rib dust, and party mix. It's a pretty good package. So just get out there and get those posted. Now, I'm also picking Carolina and Atlanta. Atlanta is a 7.5 dog at home. I like Carolina. We're going to take them 6.5. Okay. The other game I'm picking, and I'm picking 8 as I normally do. Let me make sure I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I got 8 here. All right, so the other game that I'm picking, how can you go against Kansas City right now? And they're playing Cleveland. They're favored by 10.5. That seems to be a big number. Cleveland is playing out the string. People are playing for positions. Some of the guys know they're not going to be there next year as well. The coaching staff is in a flux. I don't see, and of course, Johnny Football is the starting quarterback. I don't see Cleveland putting up much of a fight at all against Kansas City. At home, by the way. So I'm going to take Kansas City and the 10.5. That is a huge, huge number. Another game that I'm going to take is the New England Patriots. They've been pretty good for me this year. Been riding that horse. They are playing the New York Jets on the road. The Jets are a 3.5-point dog, a 3-point dog at home. I think the Patriots need to get back on the winning ways. They've lost 2. They've been struggling due to a lot of injuries and so on and so forth. I don't see them turning their other cheek. I think the Jets are desperate. They've got to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. And if you look at the playoff scenario, they are right outside. So they need to win this. but they're not going to win it. I'm taking the Patriots +3. Green Bay is another good game. This probably is one of the better games of the weekend. They go on the road to play against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored by 4.5. What can you say about the Cardinals? They played great football all year long. Take your hats off to Carson Palmer. I'm not a big fan of his. Never have not been since he quit the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the reasons Hugh Jackson was fired and probably should be the coach of the Oakland Raiders right now is because of Carson Palmer. And Palmer basically stayed injured while he was a Raider. And not only that, Jackson basically mortgaged first-round draft picks to get Palmer, who never panned out. But he's certainly playing well in Arizona right now. Green Bay is on the road. They need a good win here. This would be a huge win for them, but I don't see the Cardinals taking their foot off the pedal. I like the Cardinals +4.5 or -4.5. Cincinnati been struggling. What's going to happen here? Of course, Dalton is injured. They go to Denver. This is going to be a tough game. Denver is trying to get back on their winning ways as well. This is going to Osweiler. Will he play? Will it be Peyton Manning? Of course, A.J. McCarron is now playing. The first time, interesting stat, first time Alabama alum quarterback has won a game for in the NFL since like back in the 80s, which was a weird stat. But either way, A.J. McCarron is making his second start. It's going to be a Monday night game in Denver. Both teams, although Cincinnati still, you can have a debacle here and end up losing that number 2 seed in that first round bye. So Cincinnati has a lot to play for. So does Denver. They've been on a slide as of late. But I've got to take Cincinnati on the road +3.5. Minnesota and the Giants. The Giants still have an outside shot of they've got to win the NFC East in order to make it to the playoffs. I don't see that happening at all. At this point, this team seems to just can't hold on to leads. Minnesota is still they're positioning themselves in the playoff. Teddy Bridgewater has had a pretty good second year. Take your hats off to him. It's amazing how many people said that this guy would not be successful in the league. The guy is getting a job done, and I like him a lot. Of course, the Giants are coming off of the controversy with Odell Beckham Jr., and of course, Odell Beckham Jr. just went crazy last week against Josh Norman of the Panthers. And by the way, he won't be playing. I have got to take Minnesota -6.5. So I tried to pick all the games of playoff significance. I tell you what, I was going to pick the Buffalo Cowboy game, but I think I am going to pick that game. The Seattle-St. Louis game is Seattle is 12.5-point favorite in that game at home against St. Louis. You know what? Oh, that's a big number. I want to win, so I'm not going to pick that game officially, but I don't see Seattle beating them by 12.5. Field goal Fisher is trying to save his job, but he's typically mediocre at the same spot all the time, every year. Overrated coach. I'm not going to pick that game. I'm going to actually pick one other game that's really off the radar that is insignificant, and that's the Dallas-Buffalo game. Dallas goes on the road to play Buffalo. Matt Castle is going to be the starter. Dallas is done. They're 4-10. They're basically playing for a draft pick. Too bad they can't get rid of the owner, but that's another story. Buffalo is favored by 6.5. I'm going to take Buffalo. So let me review the picks. Philadelphia -3, Carolina -6.5, Kansas City -10.5. That's the biggest number that I'm picking this week. That's New England -3, Green Bay +4.5. Cincinnati +3.5. Both of those are the two dogs I'm picking. Minnesota -6.5 and the Buffalo -6.5. Those picks will be posted on the website sometime today. So make sure you go out and check it out. If you want to play, you got to get your picks posted by tonight at the start of the Philadelphia game because it starts at 7 o'clock tonight. If you win, again, you will win a dynamic gift box, which comprises of rib rub, 3 different flavors: hot and spicy, original, and scorching; rib nuts, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. You will also win a bag of gift dynamic dynamic fry batter party mix, also a bottle of rib juice and a bottle of rib dust. So we've got a nice little packet for you. So hopefully you'll get out there and play, have some fun. Only a couple of more games or weeks to go in the season, and we'll keep this through the Super Bowl as well. So hopefully you'll get out there and be a part of that. We've got to go out and take our next break. When we get back, we've got more great sports commentary and bumper music. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com.
With plenty of food.
Coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome Hansel's Cooking Bacon, featuring Hansel Ham. Phone lines are open. Hansel's Cooking Bacon. To set up a consultation, go to the website Hansel's Cooking Bacon. That's Hansel's COOKENBAGN.com or call 310-849-9778.
Yeah. Yeah. great song to kind of reflect on the holiday season. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Got to see a lot of family and friends and ate a lot of food. And, you know, it's kind of like a friend of mine said, hey, it's kind of like a family reunion. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's just good to see family and friends and reflect back on being family. So on that note, tell you what I want to do here, and I was going to save that to the last segment. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show, jamming this cut right here. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about Kwanzaa, if you don't mind. The Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles. And, you know, this is a good opportunity for people who are not familiar with Kwanzaa. And there are still a lot of African-American people who don't support Kwanzaa, who don't really understand Kwanzaa. They tend to believe that it's, I've even heard some say it's voodoo, ooh, or it's something to replace Christianity. Ooh, it's neither of the two. Okay. It was developed by Maulana Karuga out of Los Angeles. He is a preeminent African-American author. You know, there have been a lot of people who have went after Dr. Karuga for whatever reasons. Who cares? The bottom line is that he developed Kwanzaa, and it's what it is. It's a celebration for African-American family and culture. It's just a great thing to have. And let me just quickly just read to you what he says. Kwanzaa was created to introduce and reinforce 7 basic values of African culture, which contribute to building and reinforcing family, community, and culture among African-American people, as well as Africans throughout the world, African community. These values are called the Nguzo Saba, which in Swahili means 7 principles. I mean, you can't beat that. That's pretty cool. It has nothing to do with religion. It's just a time that you sit back, relax, and you reflect on what's going on with your culture. Nothing wrong with that. We need to do a lot of reflecting in our culture. So let me just quickly go through the 7 principles for you, so you can understand what it's all about. And I'm sure, and I'm going to go by there today, but I believe the opening Kwanzaa celebration is going to take place at Pyramid Books. At least we had one last year, and hopefully it will be there again this week as well. So there are 7 principles for each day. This is the first day of Kwanzaa. It runs 7 days, and each day you focus on one of these principles. Okay, so let's start with Umoja, and these are in Swahili. Umoja means unity, to strive for and maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race. Now, who out there says we don't need any unity in the African-American race, in our communities, in our family, in our nation? This is a good principle to follow. So Umoja today means unity. And again, to strive for and maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race. If we created unity in our communities, how much stronger will we be as an African-American community? Think about that. How much stronger would our families be? That's a great principle. The second principle, which is celebrated the second day of Kwanzaa, which is Kujchagulia. It means self-determination. It means to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. That means understanding our history, defining our own history, writing our own history, identifying with the names that we as a community call ourselves, whether it may be African American, whether it may be Black, to create for ourselves. Boy, that's deep. And to speak for ourselves. The third principle of Kwanzaa is Ujima, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. In other words, it takes a village. And it used to be that way. That's Ujima, collective work and responsibility. The next principle, which is the fourth principle of Kwanzaa, is Ujima, which is cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, other businesses, and profit from them together. Boy, that's really, really deep right there, folks. Because in my opinion, this is probably the most important principle of Kwanzaa. Because if we don't begin to understand the power of the dollar, we are going to continue to fail. That's where it boils down to. Black male, female teen unemployment rate is in the 40s and 50s. And in summer, sometimes it's in the 60s. And part of the reason that these kids are not being hired is because, let's be realistic, white businesses will not hire a lot of them. $1.2 billion goes through our community every year. Less than 10% of that money is reflected back on our communities. If we changed our buying habits and decided that we were going to invest in Black businesses, Joynet Radio, RibRub.com, and all the other Black businesses out there, we could change the whole paradigm as it relates to how people view our children, view our community, and view our dollars. We could hire our own. We could build our own stores. Think about that. Ujima, cooperative economics. Nia is the fifth day of Kwanzaa. It means purpose, to make our collective vocation and building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Nia, purpose. Kuumba, creativity, is the sixth day of Kwanzaa. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. In other words, we need to start taking care of our community's infrastructure, our buildings, the rundown buildings, create art and beauty in our communities where it's a beautiful place to live. And the last one is Imani, which means faith. To believe with all of our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness of victory of our struggle. That's the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. This is a great week to begin celebrating them. And if you're one of those people out there who's never celebrated Kwanzaa, if you're one of those African Americans who don't understand Kwanzaa, here's a great time to celebrate it. So get out there. Go over to Pyramid Books today. I'm sure they're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa. Go over there and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It really has nothing to do with supplanting anyone's faith or religion. It's just bringing us together as, again, African American people. And that doesn't mean that other people of other cultures and faiths can't celebrate Kwanzaa with us. We respect the Jewish faith. I know there are a lot of people who celebrate Hanukkah. The Jews respect Christmas, which is a Christmas faith. I know a lot of people that are Jewish who not necessarily put up a Christmas tree, but respect and will celebrate and give gifts for Christmas. The same with the Muslim community. Well, they'll do the same as well. So you can interact and see the key to understanding, in my opinion, other faiths, other people, is understanding their religions. What do they believe? Not reading little captions of various books and running like a madman and saying, oh, see, these people are crazy. Because I saw an interesting piece last week. And these people, and I think this happened in, I want to say it happened in the Netherlands. And they took a Bible and they took various passages out of the Bible, and instead of attaching the cover of the Bible, they attached the cover of the Quran. And these various passages was very violent. And I'm sorry, I don't know which scriptures they were. And they presented it to people that were walking down the street. And those people thought it was from the Quran. But it was actually from the Bible. And when they revealed that these violent passages were from the Bible, these Christian people were shocked. And that's my point, is that, see, we can pick and choose out of all religious books different violent tendencies or violent mores of the time and castigate an entire race of people one way or the other. But if you get to understand other people's faiths and you become friends with these people, regardless of their faith, then I think that makes a better community. So I say all of that to say that, hey, this is the first day of Kwanzaa. And if you never participated in Kwanzaa, here is a great time to start. We as an African American community has got to come together. And Kwanzaa is a great time to do it. You can get your kids involved. I mean, it's just a great, great time all the way around. I hope you'll get involved as well. And in your communities, I know Nashville does a great one. Chicago, Los Angeles, there are Kwanzaa celebrations all over the country. And hats off to churches, Christian churches, who have accepted Kwanzaa into their normal worship and who are instilling some of the Kwanzaa principles, and those ministers who have reached out and said, hey, I understand what Kwanzaa is all about. This is a good thing, and let's celebrate it together. So, that's basically going to do it for the show today. I've had some fun. I didn't, as you can see, it wasn't the typical formatted show that we normally do, but and we may do this again next year. Well, it is next year when I'll see you. So we may do this again next year as well, next week, I should say, so it won't confuse people. But it's been fun. I hope you enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be posting the picks today on the Weekly Sports Magazine. We'll get that done certainly sometime today as well. And make sure you stay tuned for next year. We've got a lot of great things. If you are a business owner and you want to advertise here on Join That Radio, we've got a lot of great packages that we're going to put together. I'm putting together a great package for the Weekly Sports Magazine for the upcoming year as well. I hope you'll get involved. Let's do this. Let's get your Ujima on, okay? And what I mean by that is get your cooperative economics with your Black business owners. We need your help. It's not just for us, it's for our communities as well. It's for your young kid who might need a job this summer where I can go out and hire him. So please get involved. We're looking forward to doing a lot of other things here at Join That Radio in the coming weeks as well. And I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, and be careful coming up during the holiday season. Don't go out there and get your snoot full, as Oprah used to tell Otis. By the way, here's something weird for you as I let you go. Have you noticed that in Mayberry, there were no people married? Is that why they were so happy? I don't know. Think about that. When you watch Andy Griffin, who was married in Andy Griffin? Oh, that's right. Otis was. Think about that. It's been fun. We'll talk to you next week. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoinThatRadio.com.
Thanks for listening to the Weekly Sports Page with Dynamic David Coleman.
Oh, nice rice, ice cream, alert, 654, Jose. Okay, 1-0.
Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 10.
Brown Richmond, 96 double, 96 double. Check out that player.
Until next week.
And the morning music, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning.